G5 leadership. Oh my goodness. I am so fired up. Yeah, hey, we got a bunch of people here today during this recording, so I am fired up. The reason I'm coming out of the chute first, normally Josh introduces us, and I just wanted to come out today because I want to introduce Blake. And then right after that, somebody really, really dear to my heart's coming up to speak to you too today. And that's Mama G, Miss Gay. Let's go lay down. And so her and I have been running all over the country and building lives. And I was like, hey, would you be willing to just come in and speak and add some value? The wisdom inside of her is amazing. I was thinking on my drive here today, Blake is 25 years old. And ever since he was like 2 years old, I would take him with me, and he would sit in the front row with me on every leadership meeting I ever did or I ever attended. The saturation of mega leaders in his life has been overwhelming. Matter of fact, I did the same thing with my daughter, and he would hang out with them, and they became friends. And he got to see from a front row seat, even closer than a front row seat, how leaders process, how the gurus, how the teachers, how the greatest of the greats just would prepare and share. And then he got to be in real time, because early in Bree and his life, I put them in the front row and said, hey, now I'm going to move you from the front row to give you the responsibility to handle it. I'll be here. See, if you develop followers, that's as far as you will ever get. But when you empower and develop leaders, now an organization can take on a life of its own. In your organization today, in your team, do you have to do everything? Are you the magic? Are you the reason everything runs? If you decided tomorrow to go, hey, I'm not going to do this, would people around you keep going? Would the vision suffer because it dies with you? Or have you moved the vision? Have you moved the mission? Have you moved the processes? Have you moved everything from you to we? Finding people with heart and gifts and talent and hunger and ability and desire and loyalty. These are big words. But these are what makes teams turn into champions. It's what causes them to wear Super Bowl rings. You can buy all the equipment. They sell it. And a lot of people think because they buy the equipment, they have a team. No, you've got a group. And you've got a group of people that look alike, but they don't think alike. And they don't move in the same direction. Leadership is a common vision with different personalities saying, hey, here's our behaviors, here are our values, here are our principles, here are our virtues. They're not rules, they're just guardrails that keep us from running off the side of the road. I can tell you, as your organization grows, organizations tend to become stupid. Do you know why? Because they get complicated. If I could do anything for you in your life and in your organization today, and even in your own mind, if I could get it clear and simple. Clear and simple. Because what tends to happen is high performers tend to do moves that nobody else understands. If you are going to do something in your life, make sure that you can put it in a process that people can duplicate. The greats are the greats, and we all love the greats, and we love to hear the greats. But we really love when we know I can move from just listening to the greats, that I can become great. And here's what I can tell you. All greatness is learnable. All greatness is teachable. Now, talent, some people just do it with greater ease. And that's where you've got to decide today, and then I'm going to bring my son up. Will you outwork everybody else around you? Will you read more? Will you listen more? Will you associate more? Will you, seriously? Will you defeat the greats? Because most of them, if it doesn't come easy, they won't do it. Will you move past easy and just outwork everybody? Michael Jordan, pretty good basketball player, was the last to leave and the first one there. He worked and practiced when others didn't. Greats just outwork everybody else. Now listen, if you're gifted, you really struggle because here's why. You're great every now and then. But in order for you to have consistent greatness, you have to put in the work, because you don't develop the muscles to sustain the greatness that's inside of you. That's where character of heart, character of spirit, character of body is so critically important. Character of mind, character of emotion. Because all of us, these things can work for us or they can work against us. Great are people that consistently get better, because even when they're really great, they keep working at getting better. When you start to decline, when you stop showing up, when you stop doing the things that cause greatness to be a reality, it hurts you. Today, I want to make this kind of whole big idea come around this. And here's the question. How great are you and I at building people? When you build people, you build processes, you build production, you build the ability to recruit, you build the ability of a team to duplicate itself. And so we have got to be really great at building people. Now, building people, a part of it, we're going to talk about it in a minute, a lot of it is encouragement. But there's also this side where you equip and empower and enlarge people's hearts. We're going to talk about that today. I want to bring Blake up right now, though. Will you please make welcome you and me? Welcome, Blake Goad. Come on, Blakey, come and get her. Yeah, boom.
Check. There we go. That's what I sound like. There we go. That's awesome. How y'all doing today? Awesome. I'm super excited to be at G5 Leadership today. Can we just first of all give a round of applause for my amazing father? Wasn't that not awesome? That's awesome. The hard part for me is I got to follow that. So that's the hard part. So I'm excited today. I love leadership. How many of you love leadership? I love leadership, and I'm super grateful that we do leadership once a month, because the other day we were actually we walked past where we started leadership. Like, I think it was 8 years ago we started leadership in celebration at a restaurant, and we were reminiscing how it started and how we were talking about it and the vision we had for it, and it was so cool just how it started, how a bunch of guys just got together and started talking about it. And from there, I grew into what it is now, and I'm just super excited about this. But before I get started, I wanted to promote something that we have going on coming up soon. We have Yaw Night coming up on the 17th. We have Women's Night on the 18th. And I think the men's is on the 20th. And what's even cool is we have a thing called church in between all that. It's on the 19th. And I love going to all those because what's so cool is my dad, he didn't even know what I was talking on today. I'm kind of veering off what I've been talking about for the past couple of months, and I wanted to do this talk today, and he had no idea what I was talking on. And he touched on what I was talking on in his introduction. I wanted to just cover a little bit about vision today. And I really felt like last week, I've been prepping for leadership and stuff, and I really felt in my heart that I wanted to talk about vision. And I'm so excited for Yaw Night because we get together with a bunch of young emerging leaders and talk about the vision we have going into the future. And we've been thinking about the last couple months about how the young adults that we have at Yaw Night and the young adults in the world, our generation and younger, are the people that are going to be running our country going into the future. And how many of you know it's important that we train the child and the kids in the way that they should go so we can run the country the right way, right? I'm not trying to get political. I'm just saying, how many of you know that teaching the kids the right from wrong is important, right? and having the right vision. So I'm excited because I wanted to just cover vision for a few minutes, and then I get to bring a very special guest up today. I'm excited. I didn't even know this person was coming to talk, and Dad's like, she's talking. I'm like, yes. Like, this is awesome. So are y'all ready? Can we dive right in? Perfect. Let's do this. So how many, if I sat down with y'all, and I love when my dad does this, but I love it because how many of you know my dad was talking about I got to sit in the front row with him in all these different meetings. And I used to love when he used to just go and talk to people. And I used to sit in the back seat and listen to these conversations he had. And how many of you know if I sat down with you or my dad sat down with you and said, do you have a vision of what you want your life to look like in 5 years from now? In a week from now? In a month from now? What do you want your life to look like? And I love when my dad used to, teach me about vision and having a vision of what I wanted my life to look like. And what I love about y'all night is we're all coming together and we're all talking about what the vision of our lives are going to look like going 20, 30, 40, 60 years from now. And one of the biggest things I found with talking about vision and creating your vision and having the dream for your vision is you have to be with people that have the same vision. Have the same vision. And I love the quote, and it says, everybody ends up somewhere in their life they want to be, but not very few people end up where they want to be on purpose. Be intentional. How many of you know what you do every single day, you may not feel the effects of it right now, but you may see the effects of it in 20 years. What you think about, what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, what you do with your life. How many of you know that affects your life going in the future? And I love that, how many of you know that dreamers are leaders and leaders are servers? If serving is below you, leadership is beyond you. And how many of you know what you do when you serve will determine what your vision is? When you serve, you will get a grasp of how to have a vision. Because vision, having a vision, and I always say this is, a dream is what you want, a vision is how you're going to carry it out. And how many of you know when you serve, it's learning how to carry your vision out? When you serve, you're learning the act of work. And when I was in school, I never liked school when I was a kid. I loved history, but I didn't like school. And I remember one day my dad, I say this all the time, I remember my dad sat me down one day and said, Blake, the reason you go into school is not to learn about don't worry, math and history, all that's important. But the main purpose of school is for you to learn how to learn. That's what school's about. And you just happen to learn about your history and how to count to 5 and whatever you want to learn in school, you get to learn it when you're in school. But how many of you know that when you learn how to learn and you learn how to serve, that affects your vision? Because the vision you have going into the future will then eventually determine what you have and what you get to do in your life. I love this. And, when you're having a vision, and we're all at Yaw Night, and we're all talking, and how many of you know every single person has a different perspective on a vision? We all have our own vision. We all have our own dream. We all have our own things we want out of life, right? And I love this, and it simply says that you have to be able to add value to the other people's visions. It may not be your vision, but what you have, and again, I'm not trying to tell you to tell people how to have a vision. There's a difference between adding value to vision and telling people how to get a vision. There's a major difference. How many of you do what I don't know, we have a bunch of different industries in here, but how many of you do what you do, and how many of you know you would appreciate it if somebody came, if they had a nugget of something they knew how to do, say they knew how to do something you do better, right? And they came and said, hey, can I talk to you about this? Would you be willing if I just shared it, a little thing I learned how to do it? Or they came and said, hey, you're doing that wrong, here's how to do it. How many of you know that is a completely different way of handling it? But how many of you know if you have a vision and somebody goes, hey man, I've been where you've been. Can I just tell you something that helped me walk through that storm or that trial I was in that vision? How many of you know that would have changed your trajectory forever? And that's what I was so grateful for my parents is they got me and Bree and I, grammar's fun, around people that when we were younger, they helped us with our visions. Not even realizing that's what they were helping us with, but they were talking about stuff. And we were being around people that knew how to get where we wanted to go. That's why I love music. Is how many of you know, like you can tell when a musician knows how to play and when a musician doesn't know how to play. Junior's like, I know that preach it, Blake. I know how that one is. But how many of you know? I love when I get the chance to play with amazing musicians, because when I play with amazing musicians, it brings my skill of what I can play to a whole new level. But here's what I also know. When I play with musicians, this sounds very bad, and please don't take this wrong, but when I play with musicians that have, or their skill is not as great as what I can do, it sometimes can bring me down. So Josh is waving his hands back here. Like when I play with Josh, it just brings my skills down. It's awesome. Oh, no. I'm kidding. I love giving Josh a hard time. But how many of you know the people you surround yourself with will determine your vision and the skill that you have going into the future? And I always love when my dad says the 5 closest people you hang around will determine what your life turns out to be. Your vision. And I love this third point, and that you have to be willing to fight and able to go to battle for your vision. Go to battle for your vision. There's a movie I love growing up. It came out a few years ago, but it was called War Room. And I encourage you to go watch it, because it taught you how to go to battle in prayer, right? But there's another movie growing up, and I talk about this movie all the time, and every time I watch this movie, I cannot watch this movie and not cry. Not that movie, but it's a good movie. Junior's over here quoting Braveheart. I love it. No, but I love the movie Miracle. Ever since I was little, I've been a huge sports fan. And the movie Miracle, every time I watch that movie, I call it a remote drop. No matter what point of the movie it's on, I have to drop the remote. I have to watch it. Because every time I watch that movie, I get inspired to go fight again. Because I don't know what it is, but there's something, and I know exactly what it is. It's the team effort to take a bunch of renegades and guys that didn't have a chance, and they went and they won the gold medal. How many of you know when you get a bunch of guys that don't they don't care. They care, but they don't care, and they'll go fight and do whatever it takes to get what they want. And they'll fight for each other, and I love the quote. It says, "No man left behind." Another one of my favorite movies is Patriot. I don't know why. Those movies, every time it's a remote drop, because those movies give me the fire to go fight for what I believe in again. Because now I don't believe in staying in your past, but I really do encourage you to remember where you came from, because that'll determine where your vision goes. And I love, I was watching an interview recently about Tiger Woods. I'm a huge Tiger Woods fan. I love Tiger. But they all said it in different ways, but Tiger's opponent was never people. It was history. It was history. It was all, how many of you know there's a bar set? And his opponent was all the people that came before him that set that bar, and they told him that he was never going to be able to beat it. How many of you know that was his opponent to go, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to beat every single one of those records. And it's not that he wanted to look what I did. It was just they gave him the fire to be the excellent sportsman he could ever be. It is amazing. And I love the quote. It says, closed-minded leaders will close other leaders' minds. And it's so crazy. And I love listening to people talk, because sometimes people can talk, and there's other people They know what they're talking about, and other people just like to hear themselves talk. And it's fun, as I love the quote, and it simply says this: sometimes smart men lack wisdom. Sometimes smart men lack wisdom. And I love the enemy of wisdom is feeling. How many of you know you don't act your way into a feeling, you feel your way into an action, right? How many of you know that you... It's so good. But it's how many of you know when you get into a spot and it's so hard and you're like, I'm going to give up? How many of you know it's important to have people around you that'll just come up and push you to the next level? That's what I encourage you all to get your kids to Yacht Night. And I love what Heath says, it's 13 to 368 days, and you got 1 day to go before you're, 30. That's why Josh sneaks in every once in a while, because he's 2 years past the 1 day, but he still sneaks in. He shaves and dyes his hair brown, so it's like you don't see the gray hairs, And he goes to the chiropractor to get his bones flimsy so he can walk in normally, Oh. And see, that's another thing. Just be willing, when you're fighting for your vision, have fun with it. Because how many of you know when you take stuff so seriously that sometimes people won't go and they won't fight for you? Because how many of you know that when things get too serious, sometimes it gets too serious that they won't go the next level. They got to know that you're willing to fight for them, but they also got to know it's going to be they're going to enjoy once they get there. It's huge. And that's why I'm so excited. I'm excited because my mom is talking today. And how many of you know, growing up, having a parents, how many of you know it was so important to have two different perspectives on a vision? Even though my parents had the same vision and the same heart and the same mindset, but how many of you know that everybody looks at the same thing two different ways? Two different ways. And I love and there's a sign over in the cafe, and I love it. And this isn't something that my parents do amazing, is that they found something they were willing to die for, and they were willing to live for it. So what I want to encourage you all today as I close up here is whatever your vision is, whatever it is, your family, whatever it is to fight for you, whatever you fight for, whatever you guys are fighting for out there on the stream today, find something that you're willing to die for and live for it. Live for it. Because how many of you know one of the greatest ways people can tell what you're willing to fight for is when you're willing to work for what you're willing to live for. I'm willing to die for my family. And I'm willing to live for it. I'm willing to die for this church, right? I'm willing to die for friends. And what I'm so grateful for is along the line, we have friends and people that are willing to stand on the line, shoulder to shoulder, and fight for the same visions, right? Fight for the same love. Fight for the same things that we all have in common. And don't get me wrong. We all are going to disagree on stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's stuff that we're all going to disagree on. But the biggest way to show people you care is even when you disagree, still fight for the same cause. That's bigger than that's huge. And if y'all are recording that, can you send me to me later? That's good. I got to remember that. And I'm going to end on this quote, and I love what Thomas Edison said. This is so true. And I got two quotes from Thomas Edison I wanted to say. And I love the quote. How many of you know that Thomas Edison created the light bulb, right? It's kind of a big deal. You know, you wouldn't be able to see me without him, so it's kind of cool. But he simply said that, I think it was that he failed 12,000 times creating the light bulb. I could be off on the number. But somebody said, Thomas, you failed 12,000 times. He goes, no, I didn't fail 12,000 times. I just found 12,000 ways that the light bulb didn't work. It's all in the perspective of how you look at it. How many of you know the way you look at your vision determines how you're willing to fight for it? And I love this quote, and I'm going to end on this, and I'm going to bring my amazing mother up. But I love this quote. He simply says, as many of life's failures are often the ones... So many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Don't give up. Don't give up. I want to encourage you. You may feel like you're on their last leg, but don't give up. Because trust me, you got 6 more gears in there you don't know about. Nice car reference. I loved it. But how many of you know that my dad was talking about earlier, Michael Jordan was the first one on the court and the last one to leave? Guys, he probably didn't want to be there. I bet you he didn't want to be there. But how many of you knew he knew that if he was willing to stretch himself further and further and further, when he got in the battle, he was going to be able to stretch. And one of my favorite quotes by Michael Jordan, that I'm bringing my mom up, is he simply said, I never lost a game. I just ran out of time. Think of that. He never lost a game. He just ran out of time. So I want to encourage you to fight to the end for what you believe in. Fight to the end for what you believe in. Fight to the end for your family. Fight for your vision. Fight for it. Because how many of you know that, or you may not know, but how many of you know that when you're stretching, there may be somebody watching that you don't know about that are going, if he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. If Michael Jordan can do it, I can do it. So I want to encourage y'all to fight for that. So I want to bring up one of the people that helped teach me how to fight for it. And she's loving this right now, I can tell you. She's having. So she's loving being up here today. So, but she didn't. How many of you know sometimes the best talks come from not knowing you're talking? And some of the best talks I've ever heard her give, she'd found out 5 minutes before, and she gave some of the best talks she ever gave. I promise you. But I want to bring up my amazing mother. Will you please help welcome my amazing mom, Miss Kay Goode?
Yes, my favorite ones are when you find out right before you arrive at church. Got anything on your heart, babe? Yeah, I do. No, I'm excited to be here. This is my favorite, my table. I love it. Anyway, I'm not going to be long because I really, we got the leadership guru here that I actually happened to marry 30 years ago, which is pretty cool. Yes, but I just want to talk for a few minutes. I want you to write these. Actually, there are 4 words. What if and even if. What if and even if. And the thing about these is it's an incredible thing that you and I actually get to choose. This is a way you and I get to choose to live our lives. It's kind of like I wrote a book that was about I get to instead of I have to. So on what if or even if, oh, you're so kind. Look, thank you, Josh. Look, okay, not that short. That's good. It may not do that. It's okay. It's good. It's all right. Thank you. I should have worn higher shoes. But the thing about what if is if you live in what if, you live in a place of anxiety and fear. I want you to think about something. As a leader, if you're going through something and something has come your way in your business or on your team, and someone around you looks and goes, yeah, and what if? What if they leave you? And what if it gets worse? What does that do to you? Does that help you? No, it brings fear. It brings anxiety. But what if someone comes to you and goes, dude, even if, ma'am, even if they don't stay, even if this doesn't work out, what does it do? It brings you peace and it brings you hope. And so this is the thing I want you to understand. I'm talking about somebody in your life, but now what I want to talk about is how you and I can do this, because I think it's powerful that you and I understand the power of what if and even if. And every day you and I get the choice to do this. This is the thing. It's called mindset. It's called a mindset, and you and I get to take it on. Everybody here has the choice to take it on. What are you taking on? You can take on their opinion. You can take on their stipulations. Anybody ever done that? Somebody put a stipulation. Blake was just talking about vision. Have you ever had somebody put a stipulation on your vision and go, yeah, but what if? When we got this ranch, I'm going to be honest with you, there were people that said to us, you people, first of all, are crazy. You're home 2 days a week. You're taking a 62-acre ranch. And I remember I heard their opinions and stipulations so much that I remember one day looking at Tim and going, maybe they're right. Like, we know nothing about a ranch. We've lived in hotels and airplanes half our life. We're taking on 62 acres. We don't even have a mower. We don't know. What are we doing? And you start taking on people's what ifs instead of living in the even if. Because I look now at what's happened at this place, at this ranch, in this building, on this property, and it's because of someone that lived in the even if. And I'm so grateful that my husband has always lived in the even if. No matter who has come to him and said, yeah, but dude, what if? And you got to understand, when Tim told us about this ranch, his whole thing to me was just keep an open mind. It's like, like when someone introduced you on a blind date, keep an open mind. I'm like, oh, Lord, what does that mean? He kept saying, keep an open mind, babe. Just keep an open mind. But what a crazy thing to understand, that the power of what if and the power of even if. Because what if puts limitations. It just does. It puts limitations on your mind. And some of you, it's not the limitations that other people put, it's the limitations that you put. Because if you live in always going, yeah, but what if? Yeah, but what if? Yeah, but what if? It's kind of like this whole thing that happened in Louisiana. And I know that so many people were going, oh my word. And it's a panic time because there can be so much destruction and they're still now coming out from it. But you get a choice to go, but even if God is on the throne, even if he is in control, even if he has this. And so there's a massive difference between what if An even if. Now, I will tell you, like I said, my husband lives in even if all the time. Now, there's times when an even if can be so far-fetched. So I've learned not to use the words what if. This is what I do. Because there's been times that my husband has said, hey, let's jump in the car. I want to go check this place out. Now, this place could be 4 hours away. Now, this is what I know about my husband. He lives in even if. So this is what he thinks. Even if it's not open, at least we enjoyed the 4 hours together. So what I've learned is not to squash his even if, but I go get on the phone call and go, hey, I got a question. What time do you close? And then I can go to him and go, okay, babe, let's go, right? Because even if is such a positive thing. Like, no matter what, daggone it, I'm going. Even if, even if, even if. And sometimes there's somebody in the background going, okay, but let me just check everything out before we go full board. I'll never forget the day we had driven to Miami. Now we drive, we go everywhere. And we had driven to Miami, and we got up in the morning, and our kids know, you don't know, you have no idea what's going on. And they just go, okay, what's going on? And Tim goes, well, there's this cross, this really cool cross that this guy has, and I want to go get it. And he said, so we're going to drive to Key West. Now, if you've ever driven to Key West, you can't get there. Anybody ever driven to Key West on a one-way, single road, and we're driving, and we're driving, and we're driving, and we're driving, and we don't see anything but water on either side of the bridge. And so Tim is just all positive and all wonderful, and our daughter and son are going, where are we going, and why is this taking so long? And I will never forget when Tim kept saying, oh, even if the guy's not there and I don't get the cross, think about the drive that we had. Even if. And so we drive for, what did it take us? 3.5 hours. We get to Key West. Bree thinks we're going to get this massive cross to bring to the church. Like, we have this rental car. She's picturing us picking up this huge cross to go in the car. And Tim pulls up to a jewelry store. And she goes, what are we doing? And he said, I told you, we're coming here to look at a cross. She goes, like a cross? Like a little cross that goes on your necklace cross? And he goes, yeah, that's what we're doing. We drove down here to look at a cross. And she was like, oh my word. The power of even if with my dad is something else. But it is powerful to live in the even if. To make it. I want to say this to you because I want you to think about this. Every day you walk into a restaurant. Every day you get in your car. Every day you walk into a hotel. Every day you walk into a store. Every day you go online and order something. Every day you walk into a church. Every day you go anywhere and enter anything. It's because somebody said, even if instead of what if. Every day. You walk into a restaurant, I can guarantee you whoever opened that restaurant had so many people tell them, dude, but what if? What if we're not in the right location? What if the people don't come? What if this doesn't work? And then whoever that was, the leader that said, even if. Even if only 5 people show up tomorrow, even if the landscaping doesn't work, even if this, we're going to do this. Every time you walk into church, let me tell you, every pastor that's ever had a church has dealt over and over with what if. Oh, well, what if? What about us? Every day we pull on this property. What if nobody comes to church? What if nobody shows up? Before we owned this place, before we came here, we had our church at a little old Baptist church. It stunk to high heaven. It was so hard. It smelled so bad. If anybody knows Mama G, I like things to smell good. And we would light candles 3 hours ahead of church and try to get it to smell good. And I will never forget, almost for a year, we would walk into this building, and when all of the praise team got up on stage, there were more people on stage than there were in the audience. And we would get in our car and we would say, even if next week nobody goes, we're going. Even if they don't show up, we are. Even if this doesn't happen, that doesn't happen, even if they don't like us. Ever felt like, oh Lord, what if they don't like me? Who gives a rip? People are going to have their opinion. If you tend to live your life in the opinion of other people, you are going to be miserable for the rest of your life. Remember, even if brings peace, and what if brings doubt and anxiety. So this is what I want to challenge you to do. all this week, I want you to practice this. Catch yourself. Don't let yourself go to what if. Stay in even if. As much as you can, stay in even if. Don't go to what if. And remember, every day you walk, every time you walk in a gas station, wherever you go, say to yourself, I'm walking into a building because somebody said even if. So you take that and bring it into your life. And I promise you, it's going to bring you a freedom. It's going to bring you a vision that you've never had before. I don't care what people say on your team. I don't care what they say they aren't going to do and are going to do or whatever. And you cannot live in this, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm doing the wrong thing? What if? I really want to encourage you to enjoy the freedom of even if. And take it this week and apply it to your life, right? You guys are awesome. I get to bring up my amazing, incredible husband, PT, Tim Goad.
So glad we got some more guests here. Thank you. We're filming today. This will be out next Tuesday online. If you don't have our app, go get it. It's G5 Church, and you download and there's leadership, and it just helps you go to a next level. Is that all right? I want you, if you're taking notes, and I hope you're taking notes, if you got a smartphone or an iPhone, will you take it out right now and just hit that section that says notes? Because I'm going to give you 2 hours of information in 30 minutes. Is that all right? Can I do that for you? Can I do that for you? Now, we're loud around here, so I need participation. So I need you to talk to me like, yeah, that's all right, looking good. If it hurts, tell me like, ouch, that hurt a little bit, right? So we'll do this. As a leader, if you're going to build an asset, you got to be able to do 3 things. Can I give this to you real quick? Number 1, you've got to be able to recruit people. That means I have to attract people. I've got to be able to invite people. I've got to be able to go out and set myself different from everybody else why they should do it with me. The second thing I've got to do is I've got to learn to build people. I've got to build people. Now, that is not as easy as it sounds, right? Because a lot of people don't want to be built. A lot of people want to stay where they are. A lot of people are like, don't move my cheese. Or a lot of people are like, don't mess with my life. I've got it just the way I want it. And sometimes if you talk to people about building people, you know what they think? Well, you think you're better than me. And it's got nothing to do with any of that. It's just about us growing and becoming better, right? And I don't know about you, if there ever comes a time where I become the lid on the people around me, I will exit the stage. I will. Because at that point in time, I'm a drag on the organization, not a force that's building an organization. Are you all with me on that? Yeah. Now, can I tell you, if you're brand new and you're just getting started, you may not think you're as good as you should be. Don't let that be a reason to say, well, I'm a drag on the organization. I can't do it. Hey, everybody I know is in the process of getting better. Can I get a yeah right there? Yeah. Look at your neighbor and say, you're getting better. Now I want you to say to your other neighbor with a smile, and I'm way better than you. Will you just do that right now? We just get that started. So I have to be able to attract. I've got to get them. I've got to build them. And I'm going to focus on building today and here in a second. The third thing I have to do is I have to be able to keep them. I've got to keep them. There's nothing worse than training somebody really, really awesome that decides, well, I think I'll just leave and go somewhere else. See, if you're a normal business owner, one of the greatest heartbreaks of your life is if it's just kind of a natural flow of natural business as usual, is that you tend to train your competition. No matter what you do, am I right? I mean, it just like happens. And you're wondering, is there any such thing as loyalty? Is there any such thing? Now, can I tell you? You can attract and keep if you build a culture where they can move from just a worker to being an owner. That is key. Everybody sitting in front of me right now, you have the ability to help people become an owner, not just a worker. That's critical. All right? So, leaders do 5 things when they step into an environment. Are you ready? Number 1, they challenge the process. They challenge the process. They ask this simple question: why do we do it this way? Do I have to do it that way? Do I have to go that way? My wife tells you these stories about me. Can I tell you something about vision? Vision is another word for adventure. And most people lose their ability to be an adventurous because they choose comfort over adventure. They choose certainty over uncertainty. Right? And one of the main things that I love about my wife was she was raised in a home that everything happened at a time. If you ever get around people in their 90s, they eat the same time, they get up at the same time, everything's the same time. Amen. Do you know why? Because there's certainty. Some of you are not 90. And I'm talking to you right now, and it's like if they move something 1 minute, you get ticked. And it's because you choose certainty over adventure. And so I just want to encourage you as a leader, challenge the process. By the way, the little cross that we drove to Key West for was found at the bottom of the ocean in Greece. And it had gold around this stone. And every now and then I will wear it. You just got to promise me, you just got to promise me that you don't understand that it was worth 8 hours of driving. Some things in life are just worth the 8 hours of driving. Now, can I tell you something? Look at me, please. This is critical. The cross is important. You know what's more important than the cross? The memory that was made getting it. How many of you know the journey is way more important than the destination? And how many of you know on the way to any destination, there are going to be pitfalls and there are going to be detours. And so as a leader, you got to be willing to step in and challenge the process. The second thing is you have to inspire shared vision. My son talked about vision. He talks about vision. And I will just tell you this, so you know this. If you don't have dreams, there's a really great chance that someday when you have children, your children will never have vision. If you don't have a dream, and a dream can be about anything. Like right now, I would love to sit with you, and find out what you dream about. What makes you laugh? What makes you cry? I would love to ask you ladies, what is the pocketbook or purse? I don't know where you're from. It's according to where you're from. What is it that you want? Like I watch ladies and they get so fired up about Coach purses, and they get so fired up about Louis Vuitton purses, and they get so fired up about MCM purses. Have you ever heard of all these purses? Have you ever heard of them? And I like to watch them, and they just get so fired up. And can I tell you, I think it's the coolest thing on the planet because I get around people, and I want to tell you, if you do not have a dream, you are dying. You are dying. If you don't have something that you see that you want, you won't go to work. You won't go to work. You won't do what it takes. You will stay in the, honestly, what if life for the rest of your life. You will. Because a vision and a dream moves you to the even if. I know I'm going to get my brains kicked in. I know it's not going to be easy. I know, like I see a bunch of you drove here today. Some of you drove 2 hours to get here. Can I tell you, that's not easy. On I-4, it's unexpected. There's always something going to come up. Something's going to happen, right? And it's the most funniest thing you'll ever see in your life because some people just can't deal with the fact that in their life, they just can't get their arms wrapped around this vision. Listen, I want to talk to a leader right now. Listen. Some of you have been so repeatedly disappointed that you now will no longer step out and dream again. And I'm begging you to bury that disappointment instead of burying your dream. bring that dream back and dream again. I know it invokes painful feelings. I know it does. I know it's like, oh my gosh, I got to go through this again. Do it. Do it. Watch what happens. Third, we enable others to act. We enable other people to act. I like the word empower more than enable, as I don't like enabling, but I think we do empower other people to act. Can I ask you a question right now in your life, me and you? Can you make yourself act? And can you, because of your action, empower other people around you to act? Can they look at you and go, they're winning, so I can win? They're overcoming, so I can overcome. They've learned it, so I can learn it. They're taking a new path. I can do that. I can inspire other people. I can do that, which leads me to the fourth thing, and that is they model the way. They model the way. They model the way. They model the way. Do you realize when it comes to recruiting and building and keeping, people want to know, can you help me do what you're doing? Can you help me do that? And you greats in the room, and I got a bunch of them. I got some of the greatest leaders in the world sitting in this room and listening to me right now. You're incredible leaders. You're leaders in your field. You're leaders in your families. You're just leaders. You were just made to be a leader. How do I know you're a leader? Non-leaders don't come to these events. Non-leaders don't drive 2 hours to try to find out. They don't drive 5 minutes. They don't drive down the road. Matter of fact, there are people that live really close to this place that could have been here today. They didn't make it. Do you know why? They're non-leaders. They're letting the world lead them. They're not leading their world. Don't listen to the news and accept it as a fact in your life. Listen, all that news was meant for somebody to step up and say, it's going to get really good today because everybody else is staying home. Everybody else is scared. Everybody else is going, don't do that. All of you got everybody around you going, right now, don't do that. Don't step out. We have a place where I love cupcakes. Y'all like cupcakes? So we love these cupcakes. I'll let you know the secret sometime if you come enough. These are only the people close to my life. And they make gluten-free cupcakes on Friday. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll make a Baptist speak in tongues. It is that good. Here's what I can tell you. It is that good. And I love this place because when we go in, the owner said, yeah, just really send good feelings towards us. They don't know, say, hey, pray for us. They send good feelings for us because we opened up right in the middle of this virus. And I went, oh, I love you. Because everybody else is trying to figure out how to sustain. And they're trying to figure out how to thrive. Now, the sustainers, when I say that, the sustainers are going, I don't like you. And they will get a TV camera out and go, oh, this person's selling. No. Right now, study history. It's the people that look at the world and do the opposite that make the changes in the world. Right. Will you be that person in your family? Model the way. What does that mean? I'm glad you asked. Example is everything. Example is everything. It's not the main thing. It is everything. It is everything. Sixth thing they do, or the fifth thing they do, is they enlarge the heart. Oh my goodness, I could spend an hour here. They enlarge the heart. Most people are trying to get people busy working with their hands. If I can get you to do. An enlarged heart creates greater doing. When you love what you do, when you love the people you do it with, when you love the people that you serve, when you know deep in your heart, listen, selling is nothing more than a transfer of a feeling. I want you to feel about this the way I feel about this. I have people all the time go, well, you don't understand. I'm just not any good at sales. And then I hear them talking about some new restaurant that they went to, and they're going, oh my goodness, they bring out this basket of bread, and then they bring out these salads, and then they bring out this soup, and I'm going, whoa, you're selling. You just don't know you're selling. Here's the problem. Most of us sell and we don't get any compensation for it. You want to get in a business. You want to do something. You want to do something in your life that when you bless somebody else, it brings a blessing back to you. Most people that are buying don't love themselves enough. Please hear me now. Don't love themselves enough to make the right decision. Let me set that. Because some of you don't love people enough, so you hardball them. And you twist people's arms instead of grabbing their heart. When you grab a heart, you'll get their hand, which means you'll get the sell. So find out. What is it that you do that's going to make a difference in people's lives? There's nothing that I do in my life right now that does not make a difference in somebody's life. I made a decision 20 years ago. I'm going to make a difference in people's lives. So how do I become a people builder? Will you write this down if you're taking notes? You build what you love. 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 By the way, leaders, can you hear me right now, please? You don't have to be 20 years old to love people and build people. You can be 5 years old and you can begin to build people. Do you know how you build people? I'm going to tell you today. But if you serve people, you will build people. I promise you. How do I build them? Here's what I can tell you. When people get around you, they're saying to you, will you challenge me in love? Will you challenge me in love? Like right now, I could sit with every one of you. You don't know me. My name's Tim. They call me PT right here. It's on my cup. See that? And it's got the church name on the front and PT on the back. I guess they're wanting me to know where I pastor, and they're wanting to make sure I don't forget my name. Do you know what I'm talking about? But here's what I can tell you. If I sit with you, I could really strip your brain. Because every one of us in this room are not operating at our full potential. And right now, if I tell you what your full potential is, you're going to want to argue with me. But here's what I can tell you. People, every time they get around you, if you're a people builder, they're asking you right now, will you inspire me? Will you inspire me? Will you challenge me? Inspire me. Motivate. Here's what they're saying. Reach past my ability to think into my heart so I can feel. Move past my thinking. Now tonight I'm going to talk about this because in life there are thinkers, there are doers, there are feelers, and there are one more. And I will tell you this tonight, okay? Feelers, thinkers, doers, and anyhow, we'll talk about it tonight, all right? And here's what I know. People that think, they just want to think about it. If you ask somebody what they feel, a thinker will tell you what they think. If you ask a feeler what they think, they will tell you how they feel. A doer, do you know what they do? Talkers. There's your fourth one. Talkers. There are people who just like to talk. And the doers are always standing around watching the feelers, and the thinkers go, what are you doing? The doer's going, how long are you going to talk about this? So we're going to talk about this tonight because last week we talked about talkers, and tonight I'm going to talk about feelers. And every one of you were shaped. You have this shape inside of you. So every person that works on your team has something in their life that they are either a talker, a feeler, a doer, or a thinker. And some people just spend their lives. So here's what I can tell you. Paul in the Bible says to Timothy, a younger dude, he says, I want you to stir up the gift that's inside of you. Like, I don't know you, But the fact that you're here, I feel connected, and I'm going, doggone it. Do you know what, 90 days from now, what you're going to be doing? Oh, shoot a monkey. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be, that's Christian cussing if you don't know what that is. Here's what I can tell you. You have no idea what you can do. You have no idea what you can do. The fact that you're here means you've got a date with destiny and that you are about to do something that the world needs in a big way. Every one of you ladies, you're here because you've got a mandate on you and you're just being moved. You don't even know sometimes what you're doing, and you're doing it. Now, can I tell you, there's some of us that have been here and you can get in the right environment and lose your vision and lose your dream and lose your edge and lose your mind. And you can start settling. You can be in the room where greatness is being released and miss it. I'm telling you, you got to be careful with this thing. So he said to him, stir this thing up. And he said, stop letting people make fun of your youth. Stop it. Some of us need to stop letting people mess with us over our yesterdays. We need to stop letting people mess with us because I don't have a college degree. Can I tell you the truth? The truth. Most college educated people work for people that do not have a degree. Why? The person that knows why, the people that know how will always work for the person that knows why. If you've never read a book by Simon Sinek called Starting With Why, read it. It will blow your ever-loving listening mind. Here's what I want you to do. Don't waste your life or your gifts any longer. You need to be telling that to people right now. You need to go to your family when they laugh at you and go, I'm not wasting my life anymore. So here is what I know. Every one of us listening right now can live at another level. We can perform at another level. But I have to have a teachable spirit in order to get there. How hungry are you to know? How hungry are you to grow? How hungry are you and I to go, help me get past my yesterdays? Don't hide. Don't hide any longer. Go ahead and come on out and be counted on and be counted for. Here's what I can tell you. Every one of us listening to me right now can be more, we can do more, we can have more, and we can give more. Are you with me right now? I had a guy come the other day and he goes, well, Tim, I did 100 million. I won't go, bro, you're a bad steward. And he looked at me like, what? I said, yeah, you're a bad steward. He goes, well, why am I a bad steward? Because I said, you got 1 billion in you. But right now you're playing the game at 100 million. The way you think, the way you move, the way you act. What is it right now? Here's the question I believe every great leader asks every day. What am I doing today that's stealing my tomorrow and stealing from me all that I was made to be? The second thing is that leaders that build people, they believe in people. They believe in them. They believe in them before they believe in themselves. They believe in them. I want to know right now, and I want you to write their name down. I want you to write down the name of the person that believes in you more than anybody else right now. Who is that person in your life? If you can come up with 5, you are a unique person. Who is that person in your life right now that believes in you, not agrees with you? Are you with me? Not that will listen to your stories, but will believe in you. Can I go pastor on you for a second? 1 Thessalonians 5:11. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Encourage one another and build each other up. Encourage one another and build each other up. If I went into your team locker room right now, how much encouragement and how much building do you have going on in your life? When you believe in somebody, please write this down. When you believe in somebody, you bring the best out in that person. Some of us in the room right now, we keep choosing the wrong relationships. Do you know why? Because we don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves. Some of us are living a life that we don't need to live because we don't believe in ourselves. So here's what I want you to know. As a leader, what I want to do is I want to walk up to people's lives and I want to set a bar in their life that they can live up to. By the way, this is a great parenting skill. Set a bar. Speak what you want, not what you're dealing with. Speak what they're going to be, not what they're doing right now. This is why you as a leader have got to become a believer, a defender, and a builder, and a speaker for people's futures. I know they're making a mess right now. It's okay. It's going to be all right. You're going to be better. My mother used to speak to me all the time. God bless mamas in this world. She used to speak to me all the time and say, son, you are going to change the world. Right now you're confused. She didn't say it was okay what I was doing, but she let me know there was a whole higher level. How many of you know many a time I walked out of the house and went in the car and I went, doggone it. I can't live here. She just said, this is where I am. Do you know what helped me in my youth so much? Was that I didn't want to miss what my mama said was going to be. It kept me out of trouble. It kept me between the lines. It kept me on the straight and narrow. And consequently, I was doing stuff at 18 that a lot of my friends at 35 couldn't do because of that. You raise the bar that causes the game to be raised. Wow. So I want to encourage you. Tell people what they can be. Don't speak to the disappointments of the present. Are you with me? That doesn't mean I won't walk in and say, hey, right now you made this, but let me tell you what you were made for. Right now you made this, but let me tell you what you were made for. Wow. Do you know what would happen in our lives? So what do? I'm glad you asked. Spend more time trying to catch people doing what's right than doing what's wrong. Are you with me? Catch more time. And when you catch them, celebrate it. Celebrate it. And watch what happens. When you catch people and you encourage and you compliment people, I know this is a lot. Please go back and get it later. But right now, when you catch people and you compliment people, when you encourage people, when you build people up, here is the ingredients you got to have. I want to put a warning label on this right now. Because leaders, when you encourage most people that are around you right now, their first thought is, oh, what do you want from me? They don't believe it's genuine. And so what do you have to do to help people be able to receive encouragement? I don't know if you were raised in a home where there was encouragement. I don't know if you've been on a job where there was encouragement. I don't know if you're used to encouragement. If you're not used to encouragement, let me tell you what it sounds like. You're trying to manipulate me. I'm just telling you the reality of it. So what do I need to do? Number one, be real. Be authentic. Be genuine. Don't tell people what you think they want you to say. Make it real. Watching people. I'm going to give you a lot right now. Observe and be aware and then go, wow, wow. Like when I tell you, my young man right here, come up here, buddy. Can you come stand beside me real quick? I'm gonna send your picture around the world right now. You see this young man right here? He's amazing. He's so smart. His mom's Steph. He's incredible. Can I tell you something? I believe in him. And I believe that by 16 years old, you're going to be doing stuff that nobody else on this planet can do at 16 years old because you have the mind, the heart, the emotion, and the spirit, and the will to do it. But he's got the ability. Look at, I'm telling you, this changed my life. Don't think your young'uns don't get it. They get it way more than we think they get it. And the more we can get it in early, the more they will succeed quicker. They will think more things are possible. Environment. If you've asked me what I've learned in 30 years of building and developing leaders, I want to tell you, people get their life changed more in environment and culture than they do through information. It's right here. Just get people around people. Number 2, do it often. Do it every day. Gay and I have been so encouraging with our children. We would have parents come to us and go, your kids are going to struggle one day. Because they're going to go out in the real world. And the real world is not that encouraging. Can I get a yes, that's right there, okay? That is true. And they said, and you're going to mess your kids up. And I said, no, when they get out there and they hear other people putting them down, they're going to hear our voices going, you got what it takes. Yeah, scar people with love and encouragement and uplift. A matter of minutes. They sense it. They know it. Remember, the number one question people want to know from you is, do you have the answers and do you have the belief that I can be what I was created to be? That's the number one thing people want to know. It'll blow your mind. The fourth thing, make it specific. Make it specific. Don't just randomly compliment people. Make it specific. Make it specific as you can. Don't say, wow, great dinner. You might want to say, that chicken was ridiculous. And those vegetables were the bomb. And I tasted the love you put in it, not only the seasoning. Deep. Most of us compliment people. We don't encourage people. Or more than that, edify people. Oh my gosh, this is good. You got to get back into this, okay? It's so crazy. Watch what happens. The third thing is help people learn. Have learning experiences together. How can we learn together? I have such sharp friends around me that a lot of times I'll sit down with them and we'll start talking. And you know what? I learn a lot from this. I learn a lot from my children. I learn a lot from people that are around me. Would you agree with me? It's fun to learn. It's fun not to make the repeated same mistake. Do you know what I'm talking about? Doesn't it feel good that when you go, all right, I defeated that one, right? I mean, if you've ever dealt with anger in your life, right? Doesn't it feel good to go, whoo, that one could have made me really mad, but I got through this one. You know what I mean? Anybody besides me, your brain moves before your mouth. I mean, your mouth kicks in before your brain, and all of a sudden you went, whoo, I thought before I spoke, that was really big. I mean, people sometimes are amazed. They're probably amazed at you too, at what I say. And I would be going like, you'd be even more amazed at what I don't say that I'm thinking. You know what I'm talking about? But how many of you know it's important? It's important to learn not to let your emotions run your life. That's why feelers have got to be so careful. We'll talk about it tonight. I'm telling you, on your team, you've got to be careful. In your sales and your recruiting, you can't let your feelings dominate your wisdom. So I just want to encourage you, because your sales won't be what they need to be. Your team won't grow. Your environment won't thrive. And so just in your life, keep looking at this. So can I ask you a question? What great book are you reading right now? What are the 5 greatest books? My wife, I just had her order a bunch of books for me. One of them, what are they on? I'm glad you asked. One of them is on excellence. The other one's on service. I'm not good enough at it yet. I got to get better. Like if you come back tonight, you're going to find that in the parking lot to this building, there are 5 touches. Hey, good to have you. So glad you're here. We're honored that you're here. We're so fired up you're here. Hey, I'm here. If you need anything, here we go. 5 touches. My buddy Brad was just here on Sunday, sits down. I'm telling you, I've done Coliseums, 30,000 people he's brought in. And I watched him go from nothing to millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he's a people specialist. Guess what he does? Every day in the morning, it's 5 touches. In the afternoon, it's 5 touches. In the evening, it's 5 touches. So every day, hey, it's Michelle, right? It's Michelle. Woo-hoo, I got you down. Michelle, how are you? I was thinking about you. Hey, today, there's a lady named Megan Woods, and she's like number 1 in sales in the nation. Is she number 1 right now? All right, but you're going to knock her off. But here's what I can tell you. Can I tell you, I speak that over your life right now. Can I tell you, though? I texted her and said, hey, my wife and I are so proud of you. You're going to change the world. Bam. Took me 3 seconds. I'm getting them in. And what I do is I don't have such a regiment. I really just follow these little nudges that just come and say, hey, text them. Text them and tell them you're thinking of them. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write this down big time. Are you ready? There is no process or progress without learning. There is no progress without learning. There is no progress without learning. Now get ready, stay with me right now. And there is no learning without feedback. There is no learning without feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. So right now, be aware of the barrenness of the unexamined life. Can I say that one more time for you? Be aware of the barrenness. Be aware of the lack of fruit of the unexamined life, our salesperson, our leader. It's why Tiger Woods, as great as he was, he had a coach. You got to have a coach. And very rarely is the coach as good as you are at playing the game. And so you got to be careful, because people will walk around and go, well, unless they got millions, don't listen to them. Hey, just because somebody got millions doesn't mean I should listen to them. Beware of the barrenness. So have wise counsel in your life and watch what happens. Now, I want to talk to you real quick. I got about 5 more minutes and I'll be done, okay? Because I want to talk to you for a second about correction. Are you with me right now? Correction. Correction is very powerful, but it's also very dangerous. Correction done in the right way always builds people up. Correction done in the right way always builds people up. Let me tell you how you know if your correction, if your coaching is working. People do not, there's never attack on their personhood. I don't attack your personhood. What destroys relationships is when I let an issue get greater than the relationship. So in your life right now, you and I have got to learn the difference between right and wrong way to correct. And I want to tell you what it is. It's attitude. It's attitude. It's reasoning. It's how I do it with the attitude and spirit I do it in, and the reason that I did it. So our purpose should never be to condemn, to point out somebody's faults. The purpose in our lives should be to help them make the positive change in their behavior that they need to make. Okay, are you okay with that? So if I'm doing something wrong, I want to know. And what I can tell you is sometimes I'm doing something right and I'm doing something wrong. It's not that I'm doing something wrong. It's that I'm doing the right thing, but I need to be doing a different right thing. Are you with me? Like right now, all you greats in the room right now, can I tell you something? You get so frustrated because people won't listen. They just do what they naturally do. And so I have to be trained how not to do it the way I would naturally do it, so that I can do it to get the success that I so desperately want. Are you hearing? I know you're hearing what I'm saying. So when you affirm a person, then you can coach their behavior. Always start with love first and then go from there. In your heart, don't blame people, don't label people, don't do any of that. Fourth, and I close, is give people the spotlight. Help them win. Give them the credit. Give them the spotlight. Everybody you know wants to win. Here's the challenge as a leader. Are you ready? It's so hard to help somebody that's winning that doesn't have a good heart. It's hard to edify it. Because some people win just to get power, to do the wrong thing. And as a leader, you've got to be willing to help people win and help them do it in a right way for the right reason. Leaders do the right thing at the right time for the right reason and the right way. Leaders do the right thing at the right time for the right reason and the right way. Leaders do the right thing at the right time for the right reason and the right way. Example, anybody besides me in this room ever say the truth, but the timing was wrong? Right? So I would just tell you, in your house, on your team, don't ever, ever, ever just get it out because you want to get it off your chest. Get it out because it's the right time and the window is open for people to learn and people willing to grow. Romans 12:10 says, let us have real warm affection for each other and a willingness to let others have the credit. I bet you didn't even know that was in the Bible. Isn't that incredible? So we're going to create environments where we build people, where we celebrate people, where we give people a challenge, but then we give them the credit. Is that cool or what? Anybody besides me ever in this room ever do something great and somebody else stole the credit for it? Some of you left jobs over that. You went, wow, they stole my idea. They didn't tell anybody. Now, can I tell you, this is a big test for me with leaders. Because I love to set people up to win. But I love to see if people have the wisdom to say, hey, I won because of this. I won because of this information. So, in your life, let me just talk to you 1 second, okay? You may say to Tim, I don't know if I want to do this because it's going to cost me. It's going to cost me. It's going to cost me. It's going to cost me to build an environment. And some of you high performers right now, can I tell you, you're going to struggle with this because you're so used to just going ahead and doing it. But as long as you keep going ahead and doing it just on your own, you're going to go ahead and do it for the rest of your life. And so now I got to be able to build an environment where I can help other people win. And when I do that, it changes everything. Imagine with me for a moment the impact we can have as leaders in this world if we will set an example and set a bar that people matter more than profits, that people matter more than production, that people matter more than even productivity. Now, I'm not saying that none of these things, all of these things don't matter. They do matter. They just don't matter as much as people. Because here's what I can tell you. If you stay in an environment where you're consistently devalued, you will stop adding value in that environment. Do I need to say that again? If you stay in an environment where you're continually devalued, you will stop doing value in that environment. So as a leader, get ready. Let's rock and roll. Hey, leaders, go change the world. Charge.